morning viewers, welcome to the news for today. I'm Isti Kusumawati. You are seeing VOA at 9 a.m. on May 28, 2017. I will bring you actual information happening around the world. Study find mix about bee population. There is a glimmer of hope for the American bee population, but according to a new study, the outlook for this critical insect is mostly grim. Researchers report a slowing of the rate of decline in the bee population over the past year, dropping to its lowest since 2011 until 2012. But both commercial and small-scale beekeepers lost 33% of their honeybee colonies between April 2016 and April 2017.
Wild bees are on the decline in the United States and Europe, and that's bad news, says May Rundloff at Lund University in Sweden.
Bees are pollinators of both crops and wild plants, and the wild bees are actually more important than previously thought.
Seeds treated with a class of insecticides called neonicotinoids often get the blame for the bees' decline. The seeds grow into plants that kill pests that eat them. Insects that don't eat the plants are unaffected, but bees drink the nectar and collect the pollen. The impact that has on wild bees has been strongly debated. So Rundloff and colleagues studied bees foraging in fields of canola, also known as oilseed rape.
The most dramatic result we found was that bumblebee colonies almost didn't grow at all at the treated sites.
One solitary bee species that nested next to most untreated fields disappeared near fields treated with a neonicotinoid. Overall, there were roughly half as many wild bees per square meter in the treated fields as in the untreated ones.
While it is encouraging that losses are lower than in the past, I would stop short of calling this good news, said Demis van Engelsdorp, an assistant professor of entomology at the University of Maryland and project director for the Bee Informer Partnership in a summary of the study. Colony loss of more than 30% over the entire year is high, he added. It's hard to imagine any other agricultural sector being able to stay in business with such consistently high losses.
These results are pretty dramatic in terms of showing effects on wild bees.
Dennis van Engelsdorp at the University of Maryland was not involved in the research. Speaking by Skype, he says the one piece of good news in the study, that neonicotinoids did not affect honeybee hives, nonetheless presents a problem.
Honeybees are the model system used to evaluate the safety of pesticides. But this study suggests that perhaps we shouldn't be using honeybees as a model system, but rather be using some of these other bees.
Researchers point to many causes for the drop in bee populations, with parasites, particularly the pheromone mite and other diseases, as the main culprits. Pesticides are also a factor, according to the study, particularly among commercial beekeepers. The researchers described like a kind of synergy among all the causes that amount to worsening each individual problem. This is a complex problem, said Kelly Kulhanek, a graduate student in the UMD Department of Entomology who helped with the survey. Lower losses are a great start, but it's important to remember that 33% is still much higher than beekeepers deem acceptable. There is still much work to do. The annual survey, which has been conducted for 11 years, aims to find why bee colonies are suffering, a problem that can have big consequences for human beings, given that honeybees pollinate $15 billion worth of U.S. agricultural annually. Almonds, researchers say, are a perfect example. Their growth is entirely dependent on bees for pollination. These are good indicators of the health of the landscape as a whole, said Natalie Stenhauer, a graduate student in the U.M.D. Department of Entomology who leads the data collection efforts for the annual survey. Honeybees are strongly affected by the quality of their environment, including flower diversity, contaminants, and pests. Honeybee health is a community matter.
While the European Union has banned neonicotinoids for 2 years, Van Engelsdorp says they are often the safest product available. But he says far too often they are used indiscriminately.
Rather than ban, I think we have to go back to the basics and come back to some basic common sense practices to make sure we only use products when we need to use them.
Otherwise, he says, farmers can end up hurting creatures that are trying to help them. Steve Baragona, VOA News.
Alright viewers, that is the end of the news for today. I'm Isti Pristiyani Kusumawati with the crew of VOA, the best local news TV in the world. Have to say goodbye. Thank you for joining us and be sure to join us tomorrow with some other actual information on the same channel at the same time. Goodbye for now. See you next time.